If you saw my previous video on test your generator now because you might need it in a couple of weeks, or tomorrow for that matter, my generator didn't start, and you'll know that. And so I just took it apart. I'm gonna flip the camera around and show you why. This is the bowl at the bottom of the carburetor right here, right? So carburetor sits into that guy right there. The whole thing slips on. By the way, this is not a how-to video. I am not an expert. Actually, it slips on this way. But I've done enough of these to know that that's bad, and we need to make sure that there's not that much crud clogging up the jets in the carburetor. So I'm going to take this apart further. I'm going to make sure that all the jets are cleaned out, and then I'm going to put it back together, and that's the most I'm going to do on this. And I think there's a really strong chance it's going to start up, because that's disgusting. And gosh, you'll notice the fuel valve is turned left to off. Last time I used it, I left it up, which continued to keep this full of nasty gasoline. It got stale, and well, here we are. So always, whenever you're running your generator, make sure that you're done. You've turned the fuel valve off, and then you let it go until the fuel runs out in the carburetor and the engine stops. Real simple. There are a million videos on how to do this, but I just want to let you know you can do it. There's only a couple of bolts. In fact, I'm going to kind of show you real quick. Yours is going to look a little different, but we'll talk through this real quick just so you know how simple this is. So the bolt goes underneath here, and it's held on by this bolt in most cases. You can see how nasty that bolt is. And I'm just going to spray all this down with carburetor cleaner. And then this goes on, and there's a gasket back here. You need to make sure that gasket is not tore up when you put it back. It slides over these rails, or screws rather. Just 2 screws most of the time. Sometimes there's 4 on bigger engines. And then your intake manifold is going to sit right on top of that. And then you're going to have a couple of nuts, most likely, that screw onto that. And then it compresses this gasket and that gasket. And you know, that keeps it all working properly. There's a couple of things, try not to get my phone all nasty. A couple of connections here that need to be made, but you can figure out, and it's going to be different on each of your carburetors and different manufacturers, how it goes together. But just take pictures, go slow, pull it off, and then once you get it apart, then you're just going to spray out all the little holes and make sure it's nice and clean. So I want to point out a couple of things. I'm back. So when you are cleaning this thing out, doesn't it look so much better? I know it's not perfect. I can't find a wire brush that'll fit down in there, a little brass brush. But I want to point out this guy right here. Probably didn't even notice it earlier, but you see those holes? Those holes were completely clogged up. And what happens is this sits down in the bottom of this bowl going up, which screws into this right here. Okay, so it screws in here, and then we've got the bowl around it that's full of gasoline, hopefully not crud. Then as the oxygen is, or as the air is being pumped through the carburetor here, it's sucking some of the got a visitor here. It's sucking some of the fuel in through these holes and up through the main jet, which I did my best to get clean in there as well, but it's not quite as clean as I'd like. You can back those out, but I just sprayed in it with gasoline, and it came out real nice. It just poured out the top. But this was all clogged up. This is most certainly my problem. So be sure you check all these little areas to make sure that everything is nice and clean, and squirt basically carburetor cleaner into every single hole that you can find, and make sure that gasoline or the carb cleaner comes out. Yeah, so that's it. You can do this. You've got it. But I'm glad I'm doing this today and not when it's 14 degrees or whatever it's projected. I said predicted. Whatever it's projected to be in your location, because that's not fun. Been there, done that. I'm learning. 2025. Happy New Year. I'm Eric with East Texas Homestead, encouraging you to live faithfully and prepare thoroughly for good times or bad. We'll see you on the next one.